Do you buck the trend in buying a car that was actually okay from Birmingham? Because
It wasn't okay. No. No.
this Volvo Amazon has been a labour of love, 7 years in the making. Brandon's always wanted one, and when the opportunity presented itself at just 17 years old, he thought, yes, this will be my first car. So he's put a lot of blood, sweat, tears and money into getting this back road ready. As always, Resto Revival, you're here for the full story. This is episode 10 of Owners Club. Welcome back to Resto Revival. Let's get into it. Here we are then, Brandon. Thank you for giving me your time today.
No problem at all.
Tell us what we have behind this beautiful sculpted bodywork.
So this is a 1966 Volvo 122S, which is, as you can see, the 4-door. They did a 2-door and a 4-door version of this. So this one's the more practical version, apart from the estate, which was absolutely cavernous. So, and they're getting quite rare now. So it's what I've got at the minute.
And, you know, you've wanted one of these for a very long time, since you were quite young.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about the 122 or the Amazon?
The front end. As soon as I saw a picture of it when I was about, well, tell a lie. Me and my dad used to go to these Volvo shows.
Yeah.
For, well, ever since I can remember, really.
Yeah.
And obviously you get to see a couple of them because people don't really bring them out. So you see one like 1 year, you don't see another one for like 2 or 3 years. So it's always stuck in my head, that front end being as it is. And I've always wanted one because of that. And then a couple more years down the line, I saw a picture on the internet from Stance Works of an Amazon that they put on air ride. And I was like, I need to get one of these cars because it just looks so cool. And then fast forward until I was about 17.
Yeah.
I was sat on the back garden. My dad came out with his phone and said, have you seen this? Held me an advert up for one. 1,500 quid, and I was like, can we go and get it? And he just went, yeah, and we got in the car, drove over to Birmingham and picked it up.
There you go then.
That dream come true, really.
Do you buck the trend in buying a car that was actually okay from Birmingham? Because
It wasn't okay. No. So it looked not too bad. Bodywork was okay, a bit scabby.
Yeah.
Wasn't really bothered about it because I was like, I'll just keep it on the road. Keep just doing little bits. I won't restore it.
Yeah.
Just keep it going. And then I got it back, started lifting up carpets and rubber mats inside, seeing holes in the floor, holes in the sills. I was like, crap.
No.
The engine was apparently rebuilt by them,
Right.
but it would never run properly. I couldn't get it to run properly, couldn't get it to start very easily, and I was like, this isn't great. So I ended up taking the engine gearbox out, as I had some bodywork done. Took the head off it, and the pistons inside the bores were shaking around like this, and I was like, I've been done here.
Oh, no.
So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, really, because I just went, right, I'll build myself a brand new engine then. And then, so that's what we've got in it at the moment. So yeah, it
brand
wasn't
new or reconditioned? Like you took what was it originally there? Or did
yeah,
you get
so
a
the
new
original engine had it bored out a bit bigger to get rid of any of the wear in it. Brand new pistons, all forged aluminium pistons, and then just new bearings, and then ported the head and went a bit crazy with it, really.
I suppose it's kind of disappointing to get to that stage, but I suppose when the car is in that state, we go, right, well, we can just start afresh.
I was quite upset. Well, obviously, being 17, I was like, oh, it's going to be amazing. Yeah. I'm going to have it. I'm going to drive around in it. So we mint. And then it being, oh, it needs a lot of bodywork doing. Engine doesn't work. I was sort of like, oh, no. But then it allowed me to learn how to do bodywork, learn how to build engines, learn how to do gearboxes and all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't like that. So I've learned so much from this car.
Yes.
It's unbelievable, really.
Well, I suppose that's the blessing in disguise, really, is that you've, like you say, you've been able to teach yourself much more than you ever thought was probably possible.
No.
All thanks to Birmingham.
That's it. The only good story to come out of Birmingham.
So yeah, just briefly, you briefly touched on it there, but tell us, like, you know, what you had to do just to get it running properly.
So the main issue, obviously, it didn't need an MOT.
Yeah.
because it was exempt.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get it structurally sound because
Yes.
the passenger floor was like not there at
Right.
all. The chassis leg needed redoing and the sills. So that was the first step. I was like, I need to get it strong. All the doors and stuff, they ended up being different colours because I had to get replacement doors because I didn't want to reskin them all myself and all that sort of stuff. So I think I got a red door there, a blue door there, bonnet was black, boot lid was blue, the wings were a couple of different colours. So after that, I managed to find someone that could do me this paint job fairly cheap. So that meant I had to take the engine and gearbox out and all stuff like that. So whilst that had gone out of my life, I was fiddling with what's under the bonnet there, and whilst rebuilding all the suspension to being brand new, basically. So it's had all the mechanical stuff is brand new and perfect.
Yeah.
The bodywork isn't perfect, but I don't want it to be. But yeah, it all works now, so that's nice.
Yeah, we were just chatting before off camera, and you know, you want to get it to a good place where you feel proud of it and you feel like it's ready to drive. But cars this old are never going to be perfect, and nor do you want them to be perfect.
No, I mean, sometimes I look at it and because I've had it for so long, you pick out little bits and you're like, that could be better, that could be better. And it sort of clouds your judgment a bit. And then when someone else comes and sees it, they go, that's really nice. And you're like, oh, actually, it is really nice. I don't know why I'm being so hard on myself about it. But with it not being perfect, like you say, you actually can go out and drive it properly rather than being scared to drive through a puddle. You just go straight through it as fast as you can and watch all the water go over there and you're like, this is amazing.
It's just pure motoring fun, isn't it?
That's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just getting people's heads turning around as you're driving past and just putting a big smile on your face as you're going down all the B roads.
Too right. So you say that you try and take this out to as many sort of car meets and community events as you can, really.
Yeah.
And what's the reaction like?
They all love it. They all say, well, we don't see many of these around and all that sort of stuff. So it's nice to be able to go out and actually let people see it, kind of thing. So and I love driving it anyway, so just a bit of a break from all the modern stuff. Yeah. Which sort of gets a little bit boring. Yeah. And then this you've got to drive properly without no power steering. It's not even got a servo on the brakes, single circuit brakes, drums on the back. So you've got to actually drive it properly, think about what's going ahead. Yeah. Rather than just being a bit numb. Yeah, it's quite involving usually, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And what sort of issues have you had with it, apart from in the state that you bought it? As it's been going back together, none really, which has been quite nice. There hasn't been any big problems where I've gone, oh, that's a disaster. I suppose the only real issue I had is I put an overdrive gearbox in and then the overdrive didn't work. So I was stuck with just a 4-speed gearbox that weighed more and I was a bit like, oh crap. But I managed to find a replacement gearbox for that. It's gone in and all the overdrive works now. So yeah, other than the state it was in before I started, I've not really had any big issues with it, which is quite nice. And overdrive just makes it an even cooler car. Yeah, yeah. You can actually go down the motorway at 70 miles an hour without it screaming its head off. It sits about 2,500 RPM, which is perfect, really. That's really good, yeah. And what are your plans going forward for it then? Just keep fiddling with it, basically. I think I've got the base I wanted to from when I got it, so now I can do little tweaks and stuff like that. I'm looking at a couple options with suspension and wheels and tyres and stuff just to try and dial it in a little bit more because it's a little bit bouncy at the minute, but not terrible. But other than that, there's not really much I would change with it at the moment. I sort of was a bit tempted to go for a slightly bigger engine. I could go for the 2-litre engine, but with all the work I've put into this 1800 and the way it actually does drive, I was sort of like, there's not really a point at the moment. So I'm happy with where it is at the moment, to be honest. Yeah. And now you can just enjoy it with summer coming up. That's it. Yeah, it's so great that you don't see many of them, but someone like you who's taken a lot of, care and attention to kind of restoring it. I think it's really nice. Yeah, like you say, there's a lot of history with them. People don't really know, like seatbelts. I know everyone knows that Volvo created the seatbelt, but this is the first production car that came with 3-point seatbelts as standard. So that's another reason why I've still got the original ones in it, because I was like, that's part of the history of the whole thing.
I didn't realise this was the first.
Yeah, the very first production car with 3-point seatbelts in.
Very cool.
Which is, again, that's why I've got them in there. I've not changed it to modern stuff, which shows up some issues, like when you put the seatbelt on, they need to reach something on the dashboard. They don't adjust. It's just that's in, and you just go, oh, crap. So then undo it again and then lean forward. But that's just, it's part of the charm, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, charm is the word that keeps coming up in my head. Is charm.
Yeah, so there's no inconvenience with it. It's just a bit like, oh, that's a bit different.
And you'll never sell it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No, even if it needs restoring again in 10 years' time, I'll just do it again and do it all over again. I won't ever get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I think because it's the 4-door, it's slightly more practical, and there's a bit of an easier justification to yourself that, you know, whatever life throws at you, there's a bit more space for things.
I have used it as a van once, because the rear seats come out really easily. They just pull out, and then you can put them to the side, and then the actual space in the back there is quite large. The boot's quite big anyway. Yeah. So I had the boot full. I had, I think, four wheels in the back. The seat was out, and I had 4 wheels in the back. So it can do stuff.
Great.
So just don't be too precious with it.
Yeah, you know, that is ultimately what my channel is all about, is the cars that people will never sell because emotionally and possibly financially it means too much to you. Yeah. But you know, it always supersedes logic and any sort of rational decision making. There is no logical reason to keep a car like this, but equally the car community is nothing if it was rational and logical.
It would be boring.
Yes. Great stuff. Well, I would love to see under the bonnet.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I'm curious, and I'm sure other people would be as well.
No problem.
You talk about massive, accentuating bulge on the bonnet.
And then you're like, tiny typewriter.
Oh. That's incredible, isn't it? Because normally, I recently drove a 1938 Wolseley. Yeah. And that is like shaped around the engine. Yeah. And that whole sort of big bulge is the engine. And then you see the bulge in the bonnet.
It's just for style. There's no reason for it to be there whatsoever.
Yeah, you'd think, oh God, under here is going to be some massive like straight 6 or V8.
Nope.
Just this little sewing machine.
1.8 litres.
Oh, that's amazing. So go on, talk me through what we can see here, because I'm a bit of a novice with these sort of.
So this is, it's quite for the Volvo's famous red block kind of thing. So one of these engines in a P1800 did over 3 million miles. So absolutely bulletproof. Yeah. Keep going forever. So I decided I didn't want that. I'd soup it up a little bit rather than letting it just chug along. Yeah. So like I said, with the issues I had with the pistons from Birmingham, I rebored it, put some forged pistons into it, all new bearings, everything was balanced to 0.1 of a gram, I think I had it down to. Wow. Lightened flywheel, head's been ported and flowed, better jets in the carburetors, high compression. So yeah, it's a lot more highly strung than they would be originally.
And you learn all of this on this?
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, so there was some books. There's a nice PDF online about tuning these engines up. Right. So I sat down there, read them all, read everything. YouTube videos on how to build engines and what to do to engines to make them have more power, and then just tried it, and it worked. So pretty good. So,
very naively, what sort of tools do you need to do everything that you've done? Because it's not like we're stood here in triple garage where you've got boxes and boxes of tools and specialist machinery.
For stuff like this on this car, just like a Halford socket set.
Yeah,
that's basically it. Everything it's not metric, it's all imperial stuff. So just a set of imperial spanners and sockets and a hammer every now and again, and that's basically about it. Which is, again, going back to the history of it, that's why they were so good at like endurance rallies,
Yeah.
because you could fix it with a hammer and a spanner
Yeah.
and just carry on going.
Yeah, it's a Volvo way, isn't
Yeah.
it? Have you ever been tempted to put a bigger engine in it? Volvo or otherwise?
The original plan with it, when I first got it, was to put a 3 litre straight six that's come out of one of those,
Yeah.
which my dad had on his garden for 10 years.
Right.
I got it and I was like, oh, that'll be nice. But then rebuilding this, I sort of fell in love with that. The small capacity engine where you really need to rev its nuts off to
Yeah.
actually
Get anything
get
from
any
it.
speed out of it, I sort of fell in love with. So now that engine's going in my other project, which is coming along nicely. So if I was going to put a bigger engine in it, I'd probably only go for a 2 litre, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon.
No, enjoy this for what it is, I guess. Awesome. Well, the sun is shining. I think we should get this out on the road.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right then.
So it's hanging up on just next to your shoulder.
Of course it is. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. Right, so pull it like a gun.
Yep. And then once it's on the loop, you have to push it down. There you are, and then you're in.
It's literally like a piece of metal sticking out from the car. It's like, yep, that'll do.
Basically, I've got mine
Nice.
quite loose because, like I say, if I need to grab anything, I can actually lean forwards and grab it.
There we go then.
A little bit bouncy over the bumps,
Yep.
but
Adds to its charm. That horizontal speedo is
it's really cool.
so cool. Little orange bar that just goes across. It's so cool it makes you want to speed because you want to see more of it.
See more and more orange.
Yeah. Sitting in this, you know, should be a summer's day with like a picnic basket
Yeah.
on that
A nice
rear
little
bench,
hamper.
and you just take it somewhere scenic.
Yeah,
Eat a beige banquet
that's the
with
one.
this in sight. So how do you get to the overdrive then? Is it one of
I've
those?
got a little switch there. I'm not, well, they're supposed to be on a little stalk like
Yeah.
this, but to buy the little stalk for the overdrive is ridiculously expensive.
Right.
And I was just like, nah. So I'm in the process of trying to prototype a little switch on the gear stick that's that's not on the face, because I really like the face on the gear knob. That's sort of like a little button somewhere
Right.
that doesn't really stick in your face, but you can just click it. At the minute,
That'd be
it's
very
under
cool.
there.
I see.
I mean, with it being there, I've accidentally turned the fuel pump off a couple of times, and then got stuck on the side of the road, not knowing what the hell's happened, and then being a bit embarrassed when I go, I've just just turned the fuel pump off, and that's it.
Yeah. Just adds to its charm, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, you've probably noticed that the dashboard's a different colour to the rest of the car. That's the original colour,
Right.
and the reason I've not changed it is because on that, just above that handle,
Yeah.
is the original dealer plate from when it was brand new.
Yeah.
So I quite like that, and I don't really want to get the dashboard painted now because I don't want to risk damaging that, basically. But
It's so funny because if you were to close your eyes and listen, you'd assume we're going about 150 miles an hour. But that sounds fantastic.
I mean, we got to just about 65 then, so it goes well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Keeps up with modern traffic, no problem at all.
Yeah. Sounds great though. You really do, like you say, you want to rev it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was about 6.5 when I went there, but,
Yeah.
but I'm so happy with the engine.
Yeah.
It's like you can drive it between 1,000 and 2,000 and it just keeps going. Like I put it in overdrive at 2,000.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a small 1800cc engine.
No, not at all. Yeah, it sounds a lot better than that.
Yeah. And like 45 miles an hour, 2,000 RPM.
Yeah.
Just cruising
Easy.
around.
Very easy. I bet there's a sense of pride in the amount of work you've done to it personally.
Definitely, yeah.
And the fact that it's now on the road and you can quite happily rev its guts out, knowing that, you know, you've done a really good job in restoring it.
Yeah, it's like I said, I just want to get out in it as much as possible because of that reason. Because it's like I've touched every single part of this car, and if I hadn't, it wouldn't be how it is at the minute. And it's not just the fact of me saying I've done it; it's showing that this is how much this car has actually taught me about stuff.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff that I've done when I was like 17, and I've come back to it now, and I've gone, why have I done that? And then I had to change it again because I've learned a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it keeps just teaching and teaching.
Yeah, I love it. It's like you're driving around in your own homework.
Yeah, basically. But it's the homework you wanted to do rather than stuff is left to the morning.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think it's great. I think you've clearly done a cracking job on it.
Thank you.
And it's nice that, this is the fruit of your labour. It just feels like a happy car.
It's really happy.
I feel like I'm a calmer person inside just from sitting in it.
It's not an aggressive car, it's just one that will come along for the journey with you.
It is,
not for you.
Yeah, it's a car that you literally want to take on a road trip.
Yeah.
Because you will enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Another quirky little feature that I've not mentioned is the handbrake being on this side.
That's quite interesting.
That was originally because it was sort of American inspired in styling. They were going to put a bench seat across the front. So obviously then there wouldn't be any space in the middle for a handbrake, so that's why it's over on this side.
I see. It kind of works. It looks like when you operate it looks quite natural to you.
I mean, what's nice is when you go to McDonald's, the 2 cup holder fits perfectly in between the seats and doesn't rattle around at all, so that's nice.
There you go. All those years later.
That's it. Design, brilliant.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking me out today.
No problem at all.
It's been great to see it, great to experience it. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you very much. Still got your camera, that's nice.
Yes, thank God for that. So the Volvo Amazon, I have to say, just being in this car for 15 minutes, I feel like my stress levels have just melted away. It's a really, really charming car, and it's very easy to see why Brandon has spent so much time and effort restoring it to where it is now. These cars really need to be seen to be appreciated, to sit in the ridiculously comfortable seats and to hear that very charming 1.8 litre engine. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Brandon for his time today. If you liked this video, please like it. If you've liked this channel and some of the other videos, I'd really like you to subscribe. I've got some amazing conversations coming up soon. So until next time, see you then.